Hey everyone, I finished watching the next Ninja Storm episode. Sensei Switcheroo, that's the name of it. For some reason, some of the later episodes, I have trouble remembering the titles sometimes. So anyway, the episode's all about, uh, it's actually about a lot of, there's a lot of stuff going on in the episode. It starts off with a little plot thing that feels like it should be bigger, but it just kind of goes nowhere. Dustin introduces his father, who's coming to visit, to a bunch of his friends, and this gets Cam thinking about his own father, and he wonders about if he can uh, successfully turn him human again. And then Dustin's father never shows up again. It's really weird. He's even credited in like the main cast in the end credits. Like that's really strange. Why does he get his own? It made me wonder, like, if he originally had a bigger part in the episode, because I remember reading years ago on Ranger Wiki about certain episodes of Ninja Storm were rewritten, and I'm wondering, like, how many that affected and, like, how spread out those episodes were, because I've been on this rewatch, I've noticed there's a lot of, like, weird things in Ninja Storm that just don't really make sense. Like, from a writing standpoint, like I took writing classes in school and I remember like little rules about like how to connect things in a story and how to like proceed with a story, and there's a lot of things that just don't make sense. And even if I'm going from like they looked at the Japanese footage and they wrote the story around fitting that, it's still weird and it doesn't seem to make any sense. Like there's really obvious connections that they should be making and they just don't make them. So, whatever. Back to the actual summary. Dustin's father has zero to do with this. Narratively, the only purpose he serves is to make Cam think about, oh yeah, my father. He's a guinea pig right now, isn't he? Like, do we really need a guest star character to remind Cam that his father is a guinea pig? Just very strange story choice. I don't really know why didn't they just start with Cam and his father talking and his father's like trying to do something and he can't do it because he's a guinea pig, and Cam says, "Don't worry, Dad, someday I'll figure out how to turn you back human." So anyway, Mar and Capri meanwhile have this really weird convoluted plan to impress Lothor, and I I'll be honest, I do not understand what exactly their goal is. I don't understand what their motivation is. I don't understand like where this idea even came from. I don't know when or why Lothor starts like kind of being enthusiastic with it. Mar and Capri have like started a fake university around Lothor or something, or it's named after Lothor, or possibly it's a real university Lothor has and doesn't seem to be aware of. I don't get it. This is like it's the Disney era, so like eventually there'll be very goofy things that go on and I'll be just like, "Yep, that's a Disney era joke." Like I remember years ago, I was a big fan of, or well, not really big fan, but I watched Ricky Lehman a lot. If you don't know who he was a like a Power Rangers fan personality on YouTube who had tons and tons of in-depth analytical videos, and he had a very controversial take on RPM. He didn't like RPM. There was a lot of stuff in RPM that he just didn't care for one reason or another. And at some point, he did like a really big video going over a bunch of his issues with it. And one of them was the humor was like tonally it didn't fit. Like back in an early episode when they're trying to find somebody to become the Green Ranger, Ziggy holds a talent show to find who would be the new Green Ranger. And for some reason, they don't bring in martial artists or anything, or military strategists. They bring in a ventriloquist and like all these weird, like like a hula hoop person or something, I think. And I can kind of see why that would come off as irritating to someone, that it's just so completely random and out of nowhere. Oh, yeah, and then also there's an American Idol joke in there with Scott Summer and Flynn are the judges from American Idol, kind of. So yeah, I can see why that would be kind of, it might take you out of it, But for me, I was watching all the Power Rangers like in order and rewatching it, and so when that scene came up, it didn't really bother me. I didn't really see it as an issue because at that point, like RPM was the last like original Disney season. I was just kind of like, "Yep, that's a joke Disney would do." Like Disney's style of humor that they would do in the Disney era of Power Rangers was very different from what came before in the Saban era. Saban, let's see, early on the humor was very slapstick and character based, and then as it went along, that kind of got lesser and lesser, and really in the final couple of Saban seasons, they didn't have a heavy focus on humor. If there was humor, it was usually from the monster or like one of the villains, or maybe they would, I don't know, there'd be a character moment here or there. Like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, was there anything super funny in Wild Force? And for some reason, all I can think of is the bowling ball monster who says, "My bowling ball's back and there's going to be trouble." Very obscure reference to the song "My Boyfriend's Back." I just got way off topic. What was I even talking about? Oh yeah, the weird thing with Mara and Capri and their University of Lothor thing that I think is only in this one episode. Oh, and they're also wearing like formal uniforms for some reason. They don't look like school uniforms. I don't know what exactly they're supposed to look like. Anyway, the running thing is that they ask Lothor to teach them how to do evil things, even though they've been doing a fine job of it for 20 some episodes. I, this this gag is weird. Oh, there's that. If only I could edit, I could put in that Dino Fury scene the Orange Ranger video uses of the monster fighting the Rangers and saying, "Your humor is weird and confusing." Perfect sum up of this episode. That's it for this one. See ya. No, I'll keep. I'll go on with the summary. Let's see. So, anyway, Mar and Capri have somehow enrolled themselves in a school they made up and aren't doing well in, or something. And somehow there's a monster involved, Footzilla, who's a goofy alien with a big foot for a face. Sure, why not? He makes foot puns. Other than that, he doesn't really have much of a personality. He's funny looking, he has funny lines, but he doesn't really have much of a character. His whole personality is basically, what kind of foot pun can I do with this? So then, let's see, Cam finds a way to turn his father back to normal. He just happens to have this big machine that he made overnight, or... Oh, actually, later on in this episode, it's implied that this is like just later in the day from when Dustin was talking to his friends at Storm Chargers, introducing his father to them. So within like a few hours, Cam made a device that can switch or can turn Sensei back to normal. Alright, sure, why not? Whatever. Moving on, it backfires, and instead of turning Sensei back to normal, it switches Shane and Sensei's brains. So, let's see, Shane is stuck in the guinea pig body, and he's like, "Oh no, dude, I have a skating thing later." And Sensei's in Shane's body, and he's like, "Don't worry, Shane, I'll take over for you." And so then Sensei tries to do the skating thing, but he doesn't have the skills Shane has from years of practice. And then meanwhile at Ninja Ops, Shane has his own little guinea pig-sized ramp, and he has a dumb little CGI helmet on the guinea pig model. That is hilarious. And he's skating around on it, and that's really funny. Also, the animation is really stiff, and I don't know if it was intentional. I think maybe they're just too used to working with Sensei, who does have very stiff, slow movements, so it's kind of weird to have him skating on a ramp suddenly. So anyway, meanwhile, Sensei is gradually learning how to skate, and eventually he learns some impressive skills. But then he can't show off for too long because Marin Capri sends some Kelzacs to attack, and Sensei takes part in the fight and takes out a whole bunch of the Kelzacs, and it turns out he's a really talented martial artist. Which, I mean, yeah, he is a sensei after all. But, like, this makes me wonder, if he hadn't been turned into a guinea pig, would he, like, join the Rangers against the bad guys? I think that would have been a really neat thing if maybe towards the end of the season he turns back to normal and then he becomes another Ranger. Maybe that was an idea that they had. Like, if Hurricaneger introduced, like, another Ranger on top of the Green Ranger, would it have been Sensei if it was male? That'd be really interesting. So anyway, Footzilla shows up, the Rangers morph, there's a little battle, Footzilla retreats, and then the Rangers go back to ninja ops. Cam has fixed up the machine, and he tries to switch Shane and Sensei back to normal. It kinda works. Shane is back in his body, but now Dustin is switched with Sensei. Okay. So then, Marin oh yeah, this is a really weird thing. We go back to that weird Lothor University, Mara Capri, whatever is going on with them, and they're wondering why Footzilla couldn't beat the Rangers, and Lothor says, he needs a special ability. All the monsters in my army have a special ability. And so Mara and Capri are like, what kind of special ability can we give him? And then Lothor just tosses out a bunch of random stuff, including gravity control or something, and they're like, yeah, we'll do that. And I'm just like, you can just give out special powers? So why not just give out special powers to the Kelzacs? Like, are there some rules that I'm not aware of or something? I don't know. Yeah, it's very strange. A lot of this episode is just weird. Like, the body swap stuff, like, fits. It works. It feels right. All this stuff with Mara Capri and Lothor just feels very out of nowhere and weird, like it's part of some larger story going on that I didn't see the beginning of, and I don't know, like, what's going on in it. So anyway, they give him some kind of gravity-related ability, and for some reason my notes didn't like the word related? Whatever. So anyway, the Rangers and Sensei go back to battle Footzilla, and Footzilla attaches patches to the Rangers that allow him to float them up in the air. Okay. And then Shane, he, like, drops and, like, crashes into the ground. Alright. So anyway, Sensei encourages Shane to, like, believe in himself or whatever, and Shane can get out of the thing, and then the Rangers destroy Footzilla. Lothor makes Footzilla grow, and then the Rangers destroy him again. Yeah. It was a very, not very eventful Zord fight this time. Like, the monster, Footzilla, he does, like, float the Megazord up at one point, but then it doesn't really, like, help. It still blows him up. So anyway, Lothor punishes Mara and Capri by making them write, I will not destroy Lothor's evil empire. And this time, my notes didn't like the word Lothor. Thousands of times on this magic board that he can, like, erase immediately and make them write it all over again. Why did... Mar and Capri made their own school or something, and then created a punishment that they themselves would have to take part in? Also, I don't get why they're writing, I will not destroy Lothor's evil empire, because the Footzilla monster wasn't even, like, part of Lothor's army. It was, like, or, like, it wasn't even a monster that he knew of. It was something that Mar and Capri just brought in. I think. I don't know. This episode's weird. Moving on. Cam, once again, tries to switch Sensei back to his own body, and this time it works. And, Dustin has become addicted to guinea pig food. So anyway, okay episode, aside from whatever the deal was with Mara and Capri that's really confusing and weird, and I don't get it. And if Ninja Storm was as mainstream as Mighty Morphin was, I'm wondering Like, would there be a ton of jokes about how their plot doesn't make sense? Kind of like how the Trick or Treat show in the old Halloween episode from Mighty Morphin doesn't make any sense. So anyway, thoughts on the episode. The body switching plot's been done before a couple of times in Power Rangers, but never with a mentor figure, so that's really interesting to see. Also, it's just cool to have a bit of a focus and more of a look into Sensei's character. We see that he's just as capable as the Rangers are, if not more so at times, in battle. And let's see. Also, the cool thing with body swap episodes is it always gives the actors a chance to really show off their abilities. When Sensei is trapped in Shane's body, Shane like lip syncs or Sensei matches Shane's lip sync or whatever the terminology would be in that situation. Sensei's voice is coming out of Shane's mouth basically, and I really love that. Let's see, both Shane and Dustin, when they have Sensei's brain, their body language matches like the guinea pig model and what little we see of Sensei way back in the first episode. So that's really cool. Um, the little model of the guinea pig doesn't quite have the same level of expressiveness that actual people do. He's a really stiff little model, but part of me wonders if that was intentional, like he's supposed to be kind of stiff because it adds to the campy humor or something. So anyway, oh yeah, one of the weird things, Mar and Capri never look like themselves in this episode. They have those weird formal uniform outfits the whole episode, and I don't know why. And I still don't understand what their story was. Even talking it over, I still don't understand what was going on. Um, but, oh yeah, there's a few little interesting tidbit things in here. Mara mentions that she thinks that the Rangers live in California, which I think is the first time out loud they ever say California is where Power Rangers takes place, at least for Ninja Storm. I'm trying to remember. I know way back in Turbo, there's an episode where there's a bus in the background and it says Los Angeles Transit. So obviously Angel Grove is somewhere near Los Angeles. I don't know if after that they ever say, like, the state it takes place in. Oh, and then there's a joke when the Rangers destroy Footzilla the first time. Mara and Capri ask Lothar what they're supposed to do, and he says, "They blow them up and we make them big. It happens every time." I do like that joke. That is a funny thing. Although it's there because Mara and Capri are being so dumb this episode, and I really don't understand what exactly is going on with them. It was an okay episode, aside from whatever the weirdness with Mara and Capri was. We've had a really good string of standalone episodes, so I'm really looking forward to the next couple, and that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.